Hey, welcome back to the ZombieTactics channel. Today with a review of James Yeager's Tactical Response Fighting Pistol Course. The first in my series of reviews, overviews, rundowns, letdowns, breakdowns of firearms training facilities and organizations. And this is going to be a good course to set this off with, because I have to tell you that the short version of the review is it was incredible. It was a great course. I think that it would be a supreme value for anybody looking to take a firearms course, especially if you've done courses at other facilities that use a different training method. This would be an excellent way to add to your perspective of firearms handling, particularly in self-defense or combat situations, which is why they call it fighting pistol. Again, it's James Yeager's Tactical Response organization that teaches this course. They run out of Camden, Tennessee, where they teach this course at their home range, kind of at various times throughout the year. They also do a mobile version of this course at various ranges around the country. This is the version I took here at the Sacramento Valley Shooting Center here, close to where I live. We'll get the words out sooner or later. And so you might want to contact them if you would consider hosting that course at a local range. You can contact them at tacticalresponse.com, and I'll put a link down in the video notes here that you can just click on if you want to. That'll make it easier for everybody. But getting to the course itself, some of the particulars: the course was taught by Paul Gomez and Aaron Little, two excellent trainers. Can't say enough about those guys. They did an incredible job of being really not so much trainers as coaches, in the best sense of that word, to sort of work with everybody to push everyone to their own level of excellence within the course material taught. It takes place over the course of 2 days. That's whether or not you take the mobile version or the version in Camden, Tennessee. We were out at a fairly square range out at the Sacramento Valley Shooting Center, and that didn't seem to hamper us at all. A little bit about, I'll have to talk a little bit about what I think are training philosophies or approaches to training, to do a proper rundown or run through of the Tactical Response course. By the way, I'll be throwing in some pictures and videos and stuff like that as we go along. Some of my best footage, unfortunately, I can't use because there were some law enforcement folks in the class who didn't want their faces shown on camera, and I'm gonna respect those wishes and not show them in any way, shape, or form, not even with the little squiggly lines over their faces. I want to honor that request. Those guys, deserve that kind of respect, frankly. But 2 days, square range. Paul Gomez, Director of Training, Aaron Little, the Assistant Trainer. I don't know if they refer to it or not that way. They seem to be equals in every respect. Tactical Response takes a certain approach to training, and let me put that in perspective for you. This is neither a good or bad. It's a question of various approaches are going to have various advantages, and that's really the way I think you need to look at it. Certain schools will teach a very narrow skill set, very, very narrow, and they'll go in tremendous depth over that. There are schools that over the course of a whole day, at the end of the day, you almost won't shoot the gun because all you'll be working on is just your draw stroke, presenting the weapon from a holster, and then presenting the weapon from concealment from a holster. And you'll do that over and over and over again, slow and then faster and faster and faster, till you get that to a high degree of proficiency. There's a good part about that, and that is that you're working with these skills to learn them and get them down pat really well. The bad part of that is that you could go through a course like that and spend 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and at the end of the course be barely at the point where you're really doing much shooting at targets or whatever, and there are some schools that are along those lines where you work a very narrow skill set and you work very hard to get those very narrow set of skills, those basic important skills, very, very good. There's validity to that kind of training. You can see how getting the basics right is a good thing. The disadvantage to that kind of training is that you might feel over the course of a 3 or 4 day training that you walked away learning a lot in terms of increasing your skill level, but not learning a whole lot this way in terms of, well, we really didn't do much except shoot at some targets for a little bit. Doesn't mean that that's bad. It means that there's an advantage and there's a disadvantage. There's value to that method of training. tactical responses approach is a little bit on the opposite end of the spectrum in that you're going to take a fairly wide skill set and you're going to train it to some level of depth, but you're not going to drill things over and over and over again. The advantage to that is that you walk away at the end of 2 days having been exposed to a whole lot more material, a whole lot more in the way of different scenarios and defensive or tactical situations, and a lot more that you can take with you and work into your own personal training to think about and integrate into your own personal GunFu, or whatever you want to call it. And this approach works very well. It works very well, particularly for one reason, and that is that in any good firearms training course, there always has to be, at least if it's for self-defense or anything serious, and you're not just training to shoot paper targets and make nice, neat, round holes in them. If you're talking about any self-defense, any combat kind of training, law enforcement, whatever, you've got to introduce stress somehow. You've got to introduce some way to make what you're doing not just a walk in the park, not just, well, I'm just, drawing my gun and at a leisurely pace and doing this, that, and the other thing. That's important both because you need to have in your head that these are skills that you're going to have to employ under stress, and you might want to have some sort of stress inoculation. You get a little bit of stress that helps you to deal with a lot of stress better later on. And also that by doing this, you're introducing stress, meaning that it's closer to a real situation. You can introduce stress in a number of ways. One way that's done in those classes that you take from other facilities that are very good facilities and a very good value for your money as well, is if you're teaching that narrow skill set and you're drilling over and over, what you do is you use something like a shot timer where you give someone a certain amount of time to perform a basic skill like racking their pistol and putting a magazine in it and re-racking the new round, something. I'm rambling a little bit there. And then you give them less time and less time and less time, and you use a shot timer. Beep, beep. I didn't do it in time. That's introducing stress, a certain kind of stress. Tactical response doesn't do that because they're not teaching that real deep drill over and over approach. What they're going to do is instead is you're going to do something, you're going to do that to some level of proficiency where you just kind of got it, and then you're going to move on to the next thing that like, oh wow, I'm adding more to that. I've got to introduce, I've got to do more things, or I've got to integrate more knowledge, or I've got to be more aware of what's going on around me, or something like that. And they're going to do that at a fairly good clip over the course of 2 days. If you look on their website, they'll note that many people have made mention of the fact that they think that, well, you're going to get more out of this course in 2 days than you will in a lot of other people's 4 or 5 day courses. And from that perspective, this is very true. You will walk away at the end of 2 days of fighting pistol saying, wow, I've been exposed to a lot. I have a lot to process. I have a lot to remember. I have a lot to try to integrate into my own personal handling of a pistol for defense, combat, law enforcement, whatever my role in life is. And I have a lot that I'm taking away from this course. I just got a great value for my money. And I can't imagine anybody thinking otherwise. Frankly, they offer you a money-back guarantee if you thought you got, gypped or something. I can't imagine that anybody who's not a complete idiot would have ever taken advantage of that money-back guarantee provision. It's unimaginable to me. It's such a supreme value for the money. This 2-day training, you will do more over the course of 2 days than you will do in other courses, 5-day courses. You may not drill it over and over to the point of boredom, but certainly the level of stress inoculation is kept fairly high, but not so high that you're going to utterly fail and be discouraged. Plenty of encouragement where you need it. Plenty of strongly worded advice where you need it, to put it mildly. And at all times, I thought professional, to the point, well thought out, presented in a good order. At no point on the range did I feel that we were doing anything in a manner that was unsafe or reckless. And I'll tell you what's interesting about that is that if you would have told me at the beginning of 2 days exactly everything that we were going to do by the end of day 2, I would have said there's no way you can do that. That is going to be reckless. That is going to be unsafe. But thanks to the very professional way that Paul and Aaron put this material out there and coached us through performing it, I can't say I was comfortable because I was being stressed at all times to try to ramp it up, to get that skill better, to add that new thing. But at no time did I feel unsafe. At no time did I feel as though, oh crap, this is something I absolutely can't do because somebody's going to get killed. And that's saying a lot for the kind of material that we went through. So I guess you can tell this is something of a glowing review for tactical response. It definitely is. You'll be taken from a basic presentation of the pistol at very short ranges, and over the course of 2 days you'll finally work into shooting on the move, shooting from behind cover and concealment, working with various kinds of barricades, shooting at different angles, prone, on your back, kneeling, sideways, X-ways, whatever. Definitely working your pistol skills to a higher degree than you probably would think would be possible over the course of 2 days. So that's Tactical Response Fighting Pistol getting the glowing ZombieTactics stamp of approval. I really wish I had like a little stamp graphic that I could just on the screen right there as a special effect, but I don't have that. The stamp of approval definitely from ZombieTactics. We'll be back soon with a review of James Yeager's fighting rifle course, as well as all the other stuff that you expect to see on this channel. That's ZombieTactics for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.